Ever walked into Ikea and walked out with way more than what you needed? Don't worry, you are not alone in this, as we have all been there. It is no easy task what Ikea has achieved, and there is actually a method to how they do it. But before we get to that, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for future notifications. Let's begin. To find out how Ikea captures you in that loop that tricks you into buying more every time you step foot into the store, we need to go back to where it all started. It's hard to think that when Ikea started off in 1943, a 17-year-old boy ran it and the business did not even sell a single piece of furniture. Instead, it was a mail-order sales business selling fish amongst other things in southern Sweden. Now, what was I doing when I was 17? The name Ikea is actually an abbreviation that stands for something I can't really pronounce, but I will show you anyway. The INK stands for Ingvar Kamprad, the name of the founder, Elmtarid, the name of the family farm where he was born, and Agonjarid, the name of the small village he lived in. Who could have guessed it? When the 1950s rolled around, Ingvar Kamprad had a revelation and started to see a problem, which was the high cost of stylish furniture. Surely there is a way to make stylish and beautiful furniture affordable for everybody. And that is when Ikea started getting into the furniture business. It opened a retail shop that sold modern and fancy-looking designs at affordable prices under the name of Mobile Ikea. And it was a new way of purchasing furniture that no one had ever heard of before. It was immediately a hit. I mean, who doesn't like cheaper stuff? However, Kamprad soon realized that the suppliers were having trouble keeping up with his business strategy of selling stylish furniture at a cheap rate. He had to rethink the business strategy, but what he came up with next was brilliant. If you've ever been to an Ikea, you really have to work for your furniture. From finding it in the warehouse, transporting it back home, and finally assembling it. Does amount up to a lot of work. But you see, that was the secret sauce right there. Talk about Ikea's famous meatball sauce. Jokes aside, generally, when a company is trying to increase its sales, it will spend more on product development or marketing. However, what Ikea did was a step in the opposite direction, in the sense that they spent less money on their products, but got their customers to love their products even more. That right there, my friends, is the Ikea effect. As Ikea made you work for your Norden, you develop a special connection to it and are more likely to appreciate it more than, say, if you bought it off the shelf. Although for lazy people, Ikea does still offer assembly services. But let's be real, that's half the fun gone. The benefits do not stop just there, as typical furniture stores require a lot of space to store their inventory due to the odd sizes and shapes assembled furniture come in. But with this new method, Ikea was able to store more furniture with less space as the unassembled items were packed in flat, regular-shaped boxes that could be stacked up easily in the warehouse, making full use of the space. Talk about a win-win situation, huh? What really helped Ikea take off was the fact that their furniture was always functional, stylish, and affordable. They operate with an in-house team of 20 designers that are responsible for 2,000 affordable products that fill the Ikea catalog. The designers always start the design process in a home setting, which gives the product a good foundation to be developed on. To keep costs low, the designers are also made to keep one other factor in mind: logistics. I know this may be totally unrelated to some, but one of the main contributing factors to the low cost of Ikea products is the way the team of designers are able to pack the furniture and reduce shipping costs. Just think about it. A few dollars here and there, multiplied by the amount of products shipped out by Ikea to different stores, actually snowballs into a huge amount if not kept in check. And if these costs are not cut down, who ends up paying for it? That will be the consumers. Ikea has expanded into 53 countries and now has 433 stores all over the world. And the number is only increasing. More than just affordable furniture, Ikea now sells kitchenware, home accessories, and the list just goes on and on. The Ikea brand is so big that the Swedish store is currently the largest furniture retailer in the world and is actually considered a theme park under the International Association of Amusement Parks, IAAPA. In fact, Ikea attracts more annual visitors than Disneyland. Who knew there was so much joy in buying a new kitchen counter? Now, coming to what actually makes Ikea so successful, the answer is pretty obvious. The millions of people who shop at Ikea, right? Well, that's true. But ever wondered how Ikea has managed to build such a large customer base? Before we get into that, let me paint you a picture. The entire Ikea store functions as a giant catalog. Everything you see at the store can be bought. This includes the furniture and even the cutlery used inside their cafe. Pretty cool, right? When you physically walk into Ikea, the store is designed to psychologically trick you into spending more than what you plan to, and sometimes even more than you can afford. You might think that Ikea is built like any other store, but here's the thing, it's not. Architecturally, every Ikea store is designed with a floor plan that exposes their customers to the most amount of products. Because the more products you see, the more products you would want to buy, and the more money flows into Mr. Kamprad's pockets. The colors and lights are also picked out to attract the customer's attention. Their aesthetically pleasing showrooms give off a homely feel which just sucks you right in. This way, Ikea's architecture basically forces you to keep going around the store and buying more things than you first came for, which again lines Mr. Kamprad's pockets with more money. You can spend hours going around in the store, touching, feeling, and testing out every product, which automatically fuels your compulsive shopping. So the strategy, if you would like to have some money in the bank, is to go through the catalog beforehand. Find out what you actually need in the correct measurements and make a beeline for it when you arrive. On top of all that, Ikea employs big data to keep track of the sections that customers visit the most and the places they are least likely to go. This helps them develop their floor plan in a way that gives equal exposure to sections that people often don't visit, once again exposing you to more products and once again putting more money into Mr. Kamprad's pockets. If you thought that that's all the tricks Ikea had up its sleeves, not even close. Ikea uses a whole lot of psychology to influence your shopping decisions. Now, you might be thinking, how can a store possibly know what goes on in the minds of millions of its customers? Well, Ikea has developed the perfect plan, and it's been pretty foolproof all these years. Think about it. When you shop at Ikea, what do you see a lot of? Mirrors. Ikea strategically places mirrors all around to play to the narcissist inside of each and every one of us, showing us how good we look alongside Ikea products, nudging us ever so slightly to buy that Tarnaby desk lamp, even though we already have 15 back at home. Yes, I know, I have a lamp problem. The store also uses white as its primary color. This helps remove any distractions and bring your attention right to their products, which is very similar to how Apple uses its simple design to attract more customers. In addition to these strategies, Ikea also knows how to treat their customers right, and this has helped them build their brand throughout the years. Ever wonder why Ikea decided to open a cafe, even though it's so off-brand for a furniture store? Well, that's because a hungry customer is a bad customer, and Ikea makes sure that no one who steps inside ever stays hungry. Gerd Diewald, one of the Ikea managers from the US, says that meatballs are the best sofa sellers. It is one of the most popular products in the furniture store. Every year, customers from all around the world eat about 1 billion of their meatballs. And because Ikea sells a huge serving of meatballs at a cheap price, people automatically start warming up to the store after having their meal. And not much later, you will find yourself loading up your vehicle with a bunch of tables, chairs, and lamps, asking yourself if you really needed it. The store also has a free daycare for parents who want to shop without their little ones tiring them out. This is another great way to build trust with customers, who eventually end up buying from the store because of their generous customer services. Are you beginning to see how it all works now? And to step it up even more, Ikea acquired TaskRabbit.com in 2017, which helps customers hire people to assemble their furniture at a flat fee. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? That's exactly what Ikea wants you to think. And while Ikea has figured out its perfect formula for success, the company has definitely had its fair share of scandals. In Europe, Ikea was found to be using horse meat in their meatballs. The product was immediately pulled out from stores in more than a dozen countries, stripping Europe Ikea stores off of their winning strategy of feeding the customers. And who can forget the mom line incident, where one of Ikea's mom dressers fell on a child and killed him. Ikea recalls 29 million dressers for a second time after their product was blamed for the death of 8 children, but the store has relaunched them once again. now with an advisory to secure them. After all, psychology can't fix everything, right? However, Ikea managed to retain its reputation by responding to all these scandals as quickly as they could, showing customers that they can be trusted to fix problems. So, Ikea still remains a top favorite when it comes to furniture, home goods, and hey, even meatballs. Because customers build their own furniture, it reduces the amount of money they spend plus the shipping charges. The company's flat-packed furniture reduces logistical difficulties that come with shipping large items and reduces the chance of damage, helping Ikea stay miles ahead of their competitors. The company also always builds its stores in multi-story buildings away from all hustle and bustle, which means that they find far cheaper real estate. Bet you never thought of that, huh? Another reason why people have remained loyal to Ikea over the years is the company's policies. Ikea seeks to treat all its employees the same. The company's anti-bureaucracy style of leadership has instilled a strong corporate culture in its employees. This approach sanctions good work ethics and fosters productivity in any organization, which is pretty consistent in every Ikea store and works like a charm with the customers as well. As far as the future is concerned, Ikea is also making a huge step towards being environmentally conscious and is aiming to make up for its use of commercial wood by planting trees. As of 2018, Ikea's Ingvar Group, who owns around 445,000 acres of responsibly managed forests, which combined is actually bigger than Alaska, has planted 3.6 million trees, while only harvesting 700,000 of them. So people like us can shop with Ikea without the guilt of harming the environment. While the company aims to make internal changes, it's also aiming to become a circular business by 2030 and has partnered with circular economy advocate Ellen MacArthur Foundation, focusing on extending the life of products it's already sold, which basically means that the lax side table that you just bought for $9.99 is able to be recycled 100% after it has served its lifespan. As of now, Ikea is one of the most successful retail stores in the world. Kamprad's business strategy still remains the ultimate goal for many smaller companies to achieve. As per his wishes, even after all the success, Ikea still hasn't gone public and has no plans to do so in the future. Instead, the company is investing their money into building customer-friendly online platforms, improving delivery services, opening smaller stores, and focusing on turning their operations sustainable, planning better studios, launching smart home tech, and partnering with companies like Sonos to increase their market share. Ikea's success is largely due to the fact that they are able to figure out what their customers actually want and then use the most cost-efficient way to deliver that product to them. Even though the furniture store has been around for decades now, the company's out-of-the-box thinking has helped it grow so organically. It's safe to say that Ikea has mastered the art of influencing the way people shop. But who knows what tricks the company might be hiding up its sleeves in the years to come. Now, excuse me as I go to my nearest Ikea to fill Mr. Kamprad's pockets with more money, as I pick up a couple dozen more Tarnaby desk lamps. If you like this video and want to see more like this one, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for future notifications. Be inspired, and we will see you in the next one. If you would like to have a closer look at how some companies make their money, click the video on the left. Or if you would like to find out about how other companies were able to scale up their business empires into massive giants, click the video on the right.